Kanye is learning in real time that actions have consequences because his recent anti-Nazi rant seems to be hurting his coins real bad. His talent agency has dropped him like a hot potato, and brands are distancing themselves from him like he's afflicted with the plague. But sadly, this isn't Kanye's first time in this position, and he comes back every time. So, is this the final straw to break his career for food? Are we about to witness Ye's self-designed downfall? Let's find out. Kanye made headlines a few weeks ago after he went on a 12-hour misogynistic, fatphobic, racist, hate-induced, anti-Semitic rant. At the time, he probably didn't expect just how serious the consequences of his actions would be, but boy, is he finding out. It was so bad that he came out and apologized for his rant, if you can call that an apology. He said, "After further reflection, I've come to the realization that I'm not a Nazi, but it was too little too late." I mean, some of the things Kanye said were just straight up unhinged. He started by talking about how he controls his wife, Bianca. "I have dominion over my wife. This ain't no woke-ish. She's with a billionaire. Why would she listen to any of you dumb broke bees? People say the red carpet look was her decision. Yes, I don't make her do nothing she doesn't want to, but she definitely wouldn't have been able to do it without my approval." Then he called himself a Nazi and confessed that he loves Hitler. Now what bees? He then added, "Elon stole my Nazi swag at the inauguration. Yo, my guy, get your own third roll." But Kanye didn't end there. He went on and on about Jewish people in a bunch of anti-Semitic tweets. Newsflash, white people and Jewish people are different. You can get money with Jewish people, but they always gonna steal and invite you over to their house on Friday. White people do not F with they leave that to the Jews. If you think you're getting money with a white person, it's not true. That so-called white person is actually Jewish. Jews hate whites because of the Germans from World War II. When people started calling him out, Kanye doubled down, saying, "I ain't adjusting nothing I do or say for anybody who has enough time on their hands to sit and talk about what the F I write. I don't give a F what anyone likes. Everything I do or make is self-serving." Speaking of not caring what anyone thinks, Kanye took time in his rant to show support for Diddy and asked President Trump to free his brother Puff. According to him, his support of Puff is completely selfish. "I need to find whoever been trying to out black moguls." K's rant was so unhinged that at first, his fans tried to use their usual excuse of him being on drugs or needing to be back in therapy. But even they knew that they couldn't keep defending Kanye. It's not like this was his first time going on a rant like this. He did the same thing back in 2019 and again in 2022. Even back then, there were a lot of people who thought Kanye had taken things too far. Kanye West has been anti-black, misogynistic, and now anti-Semitic online for millions of people to see, and has yet to show any sort of remorse or disdain for past remarks. So why is he still allowed online, in public spaces, and not removed from platforms that fund his life? And then there are people who blamed it on his mental health because he did have some mental health struggles like bipolar disorder, and he struggles with addiction. Kanye West is a bipolar man surrounded by enablers and in desperate need of more therapy. It's not more complicated than that. Only reason you'll believe he is because you'll feel uncomfortable talking about mental health. At the time, there was a lot of backlash from the companies Kanye was working with, especially Adidas. In 2022, Kanye went on a racist and anti-Semitic rant online, during which he made controversial statements like "White Lives Matter" in response to the Black Lives Matter movement, and that slavery was a choice. Around the same time, an old interview between Kanye and Fox News host Tucker Carlson resurfaced, where Kanye said, "I'd prefer my kids knew Chanukah than Kwanzaa. At least it would come with some financial engineering." At the time, Kanye had a sponsorship deal with Adidas that had been running for almost a decade. However, Kanye became a liability to the company because of all the bad press he was generating with his social media antics. The partnership was supposed to be mutually beneficial. Adidas would increase sales and Yeezy would receive that sweet corporate funding. But while Adidas funneled millions into Yeezy, Kanye generated bad press and lawsuits for Adidas. Adidas finally severed the relationship with Kanye when it became obvious he wasn't trying to clean up his act anytime soon. They released a statement saying, "Adidas does not tolerate anti-Semitism and any other sort of hate speech. Yee's recent comments and actions have been unacceptable, hateful, and dangerous. dangerous, and they violate the company's values of diversity and inclusion, mutual respect, and fairness. However, this didn't stop Adidas from getting sued left and right by shareholders who felt like the company's execs didn't act fast enough to cut ties with Kanye before things got out of hand. While the breakup cost Ye about $250 million, it cost Adidas about $619 million in unsold Yeezy products just lying around to waste. Adidas was not the only company that cut Kanye off, though. Balenciaga dropped him like a hot potato, keeping it short and sweet in their statement. Balenciaga has no longer any relationship nor any plans for future projects related to this artist. He also lost his deal with CAA, which had only represented him for touring, and his deal with record company Def Jam. TV production company MRC had been working on a documentary about Kanye, but they shelved it after his controversial posts. According to them, "We cannot support any content that amplifies his platform. The silence from leaders and corporations when it comes to Kanye or anti-Semitism is dismaying but not surprising. What is new and sad is the fear Jews have about speaking out in their own defense." Kanye also lost his relationship with Gap, which announced that it was removing all Yeezy brand clothing from its website and stores. To be fair, Gap had already decided to end their partnership with Ye a few months earlier, but his anti-Semitic rants just made sure there was very little chance of him ever getting to work with them again. Ye was temporarily banned on both Twitter and Instagram, and all his offensive posts on both platforms were deleted. The issue also damaged his relationship with companies like Peloton, TJ Maxx, Madame Tussauds London, Foot Locker, and even JP Morgan Chase. All these missed deals seriously hurt Kanye's wallet, knocking him off the billionaire list by a wide margin. You would think he would have learnt his lesson and stayed out of controversy, but no, he pulled yet another stunt by showing up uninvited on the Grammys red carpet, hawking his wife's nakedness for the world to see. There were a lot of comments about how Bianca Censori looked uncomfortable and borderline scared to be paraded like that. However, he wasn't the least bit remorseful about it. He even took to X to brag about making his wife wear an invisible dress. Then he went on a rant, talking about all sorts of hateful and controversial things. But Ye didn't just stop with his anti-Semitic posts. He went as far as making white tees with swastikas and putting them up on his Yeezy website for sale. There were also other pieces of clothing up there, all with the swastika printed on them. He also made a Super Bowl ad in the Los Angeles area, which was also an opportunity for him to tell his fans to his Yeezy website, where he put up $20 plain tees with a black swastika printed on the front. And like that was the only item available for sale there. After all his tantrums, Kanye got dropped by his talent agency, 33 & West, a Los Angeles talent agency. His agent, Daniel McCartney, announced on IG that the agency was done working with Kanye due to harmful and hateful remarks that myself nor 33 & West can stand for. Then Kanye's Twitter account got banned by Elon Musk, which is very insane if you ask me. Elon is like the patron saint of controversy on Twitter, and he's always talking about free speech. So for Elon to be sick of Kanye's BS means he really took things too far. If you look up his account on X, it just doesn't exist anymore. Before the account went down, the final message Kanye posted to his account was, "I'm logging out of Twitter. I appreciate Elon for allowing me to vent. It has been very cathartic to use the world as a sounding board." Elon later talked about the fact that Kanye's account was banned, not because I don't believe in free speech, but because he's posting literal corn on the timeline. Given what he has posted, his account is now classified as NSFW. You should not be seeing that anymore. The brands that Kanye hadn't already chased away with his tantrums have also began cutting ties with him. For example, he recently lost a $20 million contract in Japan for a bunch of concerts. According to an insider, it was mostly due to his Grammy stunt with Bianca and the things he said about her afterward. The insider said, "Japan is having a cultural awakening about women's rights, and the Me Too movement is really strong here. What he did is being seen as an act of coercive control, which is utterly unacceptable. He has completely culturally misjudged Japan." The insider added, "The investors in Japan who are backing the concerts are extremely upset by this. It is highly likely that they will pull the funding for the shows. He has greatly misjudged the tolerance of the Japanese people towards these activities. He's just not welcome anymore. This will be a bog blow for him because he has been living in Japan for around a year now, almost full time, and I guess he did not see this coming." And that's just one out of the in many ways, Kanye is ruining his career and legacy with his own hands. It keeps getting worse. But do you guys think Kanye is going to bounce back from this? Or do you think this is the beginning of the end for him? Sound off in the comments below and stick around for another juicy video.